Why do you gotta bring it down so short, dude?
Make sure everybody's got the link. Why is it so foggy? Ew. Be right back.
Okay.
Oh. Two. Speaker view. Gallery view. Speaker view. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. All righty. Here we go. There's Lisa. Don't know who's this person. All righty. Okay. Hey, everybody. So glad to be here again for week 3 of this series. I know a lot of you catch the recording, and that's the reason why we record it. You know, our big thing here and what we're going to be talking about tonight is prioritizing. So if 7 o'clock isn't good for you because a priority takes precedence, then congratulations, you are following the program. So I want to introduce you to my husband, Kurt Tucker. Do you want me to lift it up, baby? There.
Sure, whatever works.
Lift it up.
Is this what's more comfortable for you?
Hold on.
God bless you.
I think I peed a little. Anyways, that's a little too high, baby. That's a little too high.
I'm a little too left. We got one of those cool desks that go up and down.
Okay. So this is my husband, Kurt Tucker. He is my best friend. We do life together, and we've had quite the journey, which we're going to kind of start off tonight with, just kind of sharing a little bit of our story. And I'll just go first. But I met Kurt when I was 32 years old in a bar, the Brewery here in Troy, Ohio. And I was there with a friend, and I was a complete train wreck of a person. I put on a good show. I had a great job, and thought I was all that, trying to be something I wasn't. But anyway, so I was at the bar with one of my oldest, dearest friends, and sitting upstairs, the upstairs part, and Kurt walks by me, and our eyes connect. So our eyes connect, and then later on in the night, he comes downstairs to the bar and starts talking to me. And that's kind of when I found out that he was only 21 years old. So I was 32 and he was 21 years old. And I was, oh, okay. And so basically the next night, our first date was smoking a joint and watching the movie Half Baked. We literally fell in love in a hopeless place, as Rihanna sang. And you know, Kurt can tell you a little bit of, you know, his story too, but basically it was just two broken people met in a bar. And what do you want to say about?
What do you want to say about that?
What?
No, I mean, that was pretty sums it up how we first got started. You know, just a lot of brokenness, you know, came into that relationship in the very beginning. Obviously, fatherlessness. My dad was in and out of jail, prison. My mom did her best, you know, but, you know, like we always say, a lot of times, you know, when you know better, you do better. But unfortunately, I don't think, you know, for at least speaking for my mom, she didn't really know better. And so, you know, we just brought a lot of brokenness into the relationship, a lot of dysfunction early on.
Actually, yeah.
A lot of anger for me. I always say the three went together. Alcohol, anger, and abuse. And unfortunately for many of at least the first couple of years of our marriage, because I went from a 21-year-old. I think about this as I talk to some men sometimes. I went from being a 21-year-old bachelor, living with one of my buddies, having a good paying, job, making, I was making about $50,000 a year at that time, 16 years ago, at 21 years old, had a car and a crotch rocket and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, I always said I would never marry, there's three things I would never do. I'd never marry a woman who was older than me, who had been married, or who had kids. And Rachel was all that. She had a
what you focus on?
six and a 4-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
So, from 21 to really 2 years later, I had 4 kids, Austin and Mariah, who were 6 and 4 when we met. So now 2 years later, they're 8 and 6. And then we've got Carson and Carly that are basically 1 and a newborn. And it was crazy.
Well, we got married in Vegas. So we had Carson, got married in Vegas, and we're not going to go into what happened in Vegas. Just understand that it's going to, if you're in my close circle, what happened in Vegas. So it's not the way you want to start marriages. So, we went through some years of abuse and addictions and bankruptcy, everything that you could think of that would tear a marriage apart. We've been through. What is going on? What is this?
Drink it. It's just a little vitamin water.
Okay.
And water.
Mm.
I got to take my pills.
So we've been through everything you could think of to have that would destroy marriage. Thankfully, the Lord had some plans, still has plans for us. But we got married in 2005. In 2006, we started going to Ginghamsburg Church. We didn't finish, a lot of people will wait forever to go take that membership class. But, for me, I kind of was the leader in this, let's just go all in. I just remember that day, walking out of church when they were baptizing people. I'm like, let's go get baptized. And found out you had to go through this 12-week membership class first. So we were signed up, met our spiritual mom. Actually, Pastor Slaughter was Kurt's baseball coach growing up, which is kind of why we went to Ginghamsburg. So I met my spiritual mom, and I had her, and I still have her in my life mentoring me up to this point. So tonight we're just going to talk about why we are still together and why we're stronger than ever. And that has to do with priorities.
And can you make this us? This would drive me nuts.
I don't know. Baby.
I don't know.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
She's going to get mad at me because I'm going to mess this up.
It's whatever. Yeah. So, so just talking about priorities. And so week 1, I went over, daily habits, because we talked about how glorious lives start with glorious days, and glorious days start with glorious mornings. And I kind of went through my morning routine, and part of that morning routine was my husband, Kurt. So I'm going to kind of have Kurt share about, he has his own morning routine. And it's one of the things I'm so very thankful for is my husband is probably less than 1% of all men in the world that do what he does on a daily basis to make himself a better man. And that's why we are so passionate about marriages and showing people, I really think that people don't know what they don't know. They don't realize that this is a everyday learning thing. It's not like you just go to school and then you're done learning. Because if you stop learning, you stop growing. And we are, do as we do parents, not do as we say. So our children have seen us, Carson and Carly, pretty much since they were old enough to remember, waking up and seeing their mother in the Bible and seeing their dad in the Bible and reading the Bible every morning and journaling. And he has, I don't know if you could see behind, these are all some of his journals. He is very, very good at that spiritual discipline. I'm still working on that. I'm not as good as he is, but it's his spiritual discipline. So just share a little bit about your morning routine.
Sure. Can I raise this now? I'll lower it back down.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, guys. So I always kind of have this saying that, our lives are built by our days. And so what we do every single day, when you stack that on top, really makes the big difference. And so, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today's a gift. And so how can you take control of your day? Maybe right now your life is in chaos and you just kind of feel like, you're running on a treadmill and you're not getting anywhere. And, so a lot of times it's like driving a car in first gear, where we have this ability to literally, like, we are, we're a sports car that literally can drive as fast as we want to go. But so many people aren't getting anywhere because they're stuck in first gear. And what you have to be able to do is kind of throttle back for a second and realize if you can just take control of your day, literally that will set up, success for a lifetime. And a lot of times the way we take control of our morning and our priorities, because sometimes when people say, I just don't have time to spend time with the Lord, I just don't have time, to work out, I just don't have time to do that. I always will say, it's not that you don't have time, you don't have priorities, because if you really think about it from a time standpoint, it is the number one equalizer that we all have. We don't all come from the same, education backgrounds. I have a GED. I didn't even graduate high school. Rachel has a business degree. We don't all come from the same families, where some people come from a wealthy family. Some people come, from a broke family, like me. Some people are black, some people are white, some people are, this, that, whatever. But time is the number one equalizer that we all have. We all have 24 hours in a day. And so I look at my morning and I call it my hour of power, where the first hour of my day, I want to lay that foundation for that day being an excellent day. And so if we all get 24 hours, the first hour of your day, if you will just make it a priority. And like I said, I call it my hour of power, where there's certain things that I do every single morning that set me up to be my very best as a man of God, as a husband, as a father, as a businessman, as a leader. And so those things of what I do are, number one, prayer. It's the first thing. We always say that, prayer is not the least you can do, but it's the most you can do. Anytime we've ever had struggles in our marriage, guys, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, I've realized the most important thing for me to do is to pray. So, I want to be able to pray, about, those different things. So anyhow, the second thing I want to be able to do, this is so weird why we're not here. But anyhow, the second thing is devotion. And it's just, devotion for me just means reading in the Word of God, right? So whether you're reading in your physical Bible or you use a Bible app or whatever, I want to gain wisdom from the best leadership book ever written, which is the Bible. As Rachel calls it, basic instructions before leaving earth. And so I love to read in Proverbs every single day, and then wherever really God's calling me. And then the third is journaling. And so really that's my spiritual disciplines, is prayer, devotion, and journal, where I like to read from the Word of God, pray on how that, word can be used in my life that day. And then I like to journal, just take my thoughts and get out of my head. And generally that takes me about 30 minutes. Sometimes it can take longer if I'm really in depth. Sometimes if I'm short on time, maybe 15 minutes, but generally it's a half an hour. And then the second thing that I like to do is get grateful. What am I grateful for? It's amazing how when you ask yourself the question, what am I grateful for? Immediately you can get out of a negative emotion, whether it's fear, it's anger, it's jealousy, it's resentment, it's bitterness, it's worry, whatever negative emotion it is that you're having. The moment that you ask yourself the question, what am I grateful for? Think your mindset shifts. And, not only asking yourself, what am I grateful for, but why am I grateful for that? So one of the things that I'm most grateful for, with my wife, is I'm so thankful that she is such a strong woman of God, that she loves Jesus more than she loves me. Okay. I'm so thankful that she is just so driven and determined to go out and help empower women and really all people to become all that God has created them to be. And so I'm not just grateful for Rachel, but there's many reasons why I'm grateful. And then my health or whatever. So I'm grateful. And then I go into a time of meditation where it's just 5 minutes maybe, where I just calm my brain. And for me, my meditation time is just asking the Holy Spirit to really download, anything that he needs for me. So get rid of any toxic thoughts, whatever, and download, and then visualization. So those are the three things. So visualization, visualizing the things that I want to accomplish in my life. And then the last thing, so I kind of do them in three. So the first is prayer, devotion, and journal. The second is gratitude. What are the three things I'm grateful for? Meditation and visualization. And then the last thing that I do about the last 10 minutes of that hour is I review my big goals. I review my I am statements, okay? And then I focus on the top 3 things that I need to do that day, and I write them down that would help me move me closest towards those goals personally and professionally. So that is my hour of power that I do every single morning. And then obviously comes the time where I meet with Rachel, because that's second on my priority, because my vertical alignment is God, and then myself, my spiritual, mental, and emotional health, and then physical health. But generally we work out after we meet because it just works best on our schedule. But I want to make sure that every single morning I get those things in, and that sets me up for a great day, which sets me up for a great life.
Yeah. So, and then, again, the benefit of, my husband being very tentative to Holy Spirit, because he has that relationship with the Holy Spirit, which is what has been developed over the years from spending time, with Jesus, is, during times of just frustration, one of the first things I did way back when was I never said, change him, Lord, change him. It was always change me, right? Pray for him and change me. So that's what I did. So the things that we do, we started, we went to a class at Ginghamsburg. It was probably 2006 or something, probably 2006. And it was called Marriage on the Rock class. And we walked in, we went to one class, we never went back, but we got the book, and it was called Marriage on the Rock. And this was basically our first, I actually lent this to somebody, and her notes are still in here, in her marriage is Emily Loffman. And anyways, so this book literally saved our marriage, because there was a time that 2 years, probably 2008, Kurt was very abusive. And after I realized who I was and my power, that was the very last time that he ever laid my hands on me, because I kicked his ass. Like, I literally Tina Turnered him, and I really just had enough, and he left. And I remember praying to the Lord, like, because we didn't go back to the class, but I had this book upstairs, and I remember like praying, like, Lord, I thought you loved me. Why do I have to go through this? But I have been submissive and obedient from day one I met Jesus, and I said, you know what? Just tell me whatever I need to do, and I'll do it. And somehow I ended up upstairs, and this book was there, and it opened up to a book in the Bible that says that basically these sufferings that I am suffering are not even close to what Jesus is suffering. And sometimes that we have to go through these things to glorify him. And that was my answer. Okay. And I was like, it wasn't really what I was wanting to hear. I was really just ready, like done. I was just so done. I was sick, very sick, I was losing weight. I was just sick, and it was just a very bad time. But at that same time, because we had some people in our life, mentors, praying for us at the same time, Kurt came home and literally started his journey with Jesus in the Bible. And every day since that day, he's been in the Bible, all these journals. And so this was our very first Bible. And as you can see, we have, so we've done all of these sexy Christians. Yeah, right.
There's such a thing.
Sexy Christians. That's this, I say this all the time. It was a struggle of mine with my husband, was the intimacy, because I had so much shame, and because of our start in marriage in Vegas, and then things that we did, it was just shame. And I felt, after I found Jesus, that it was dirty. And really, sex was designed for marriage. It was designed to be beautiful and whatever you wanted it to be. And like, I did a video last year, just came up. I did a 21-day series of Say Yes, and it was say yes to your husband. Boom, right? They're easy. They're simple, yo. Like, we're the difficult ones. Sex and food. That's all it is. Sex and food. Like, for us, it's simple for us, right? So we've had, this one is good. Gary Chapman, Couples Guide to Growing Marriage. This is Lisa and John Bevere. I love the Beveres. Story of Marriage was really good. This one we've done before, but we're doing it right now.
By Pat Morley.
Pat Morley.
Who founded Man in the Mirror.
Yeah, Man in the Mirror, which is awesome. And then this one, we did a marriage group about a year and a half ago. It was a year and a half ago. Art of Marriage is a video series that we did. But these are the things, when we come together every morning, after I meet with Jesus and do my thing, we come together. We're praying, and we're in a Bible study. Some days, being in real estate now, sometimes I'm out the door earlier than I've ever been in a really long time. And so we will just go for a walk, or we'll just pray. But it's nothing. It's something that we just know that if it doesn't happen, and it's the thing. It's a habit. Like if we don't do it, it snowballs. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's been a week, and you could totally tell the connection between us. Like it's completely different. You know what I mean? So like for us, it's a priority. And this is, if you haven't noticed in this program, I'm about mentoring and building women into kingdom women, and kingdom women are prioritized women, right? And when you have your priorities straight, everything works itself out. You don't have to worry about, missing that sale or missing that thing because, you're spending time with your husband first. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that have a lot, like Jeff Bezos. I talk about this all the time. Dude's a billionaire, but he has no marriage. He lost his family because business was number one. I don't know if that's the truth, but I'm kind of guessing that's probably what happened. Because to become a billionaire, he just didn't have his priorities straight.
There's a saying that Tony Robbins says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And a lot of times that's talking about emotional fulfillment. If you are stressed out all the time and you're fearful and you don't have any joy, you don't have any peace, who really cares if you have millions of dollars in your bank account if every day you're going home? And I kind of feel the same way with my marriage. Like I was, worth millions or billions, but my family was torn apart and my kids didn't know me and my marriage was a wreck. That would be the ultimate failure to me, no matter how much money I have.
Yeah.
So, when you have those priorities in alignment, it's just going to make it that much easier for you to have that life that, most people desire, of peace and joy and love and intimacy if you are married and things of that nature.
And, there's some people in here who aren't married, or you're divorced, or you're starting over. And like, this is still for you, because Absolutely. Like, I feel, like attracts like. And I always tell, there's some people in our life that they live in the cycle of insanity, and they keep attracting the same, and it never, because it's like you're attracting that because that's who you are, right? And so I always tell people, after ending a relationship, give yourself a year. Well, actually, Poppy says for every year of marriage, that's a year that you are waiting to be married. And I guess that's a little out there, especially if you've been married for a long time. But I always say at least a year, and work on you, become better, because when you become better, you attract better. And that all has to do with your priorities and your habits. And that's what I say is like garbage in, garbage out. That's why we read books. Like, we've read hundreds of books in the last, 2006 is really when I started my personal development journey. We were listening to Tony Robbins and Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar back then, and the Bible, though, it's like we said, it's the best leadership book ever written. So this session here, really is focusing on priorities, because, friends, and I say this all the time, this program works if you work it. Because there's some people on here that they pay their dollar and they are not following the program. They're not even engaging in the Facebook page, and that is their decision. And so therefore, it's not going to work for them. Things are not going to change for them. So congratulations for taking, making the effort to be here, to become better, because, when we become better, the world becomes better, because it's another person out there, bringing one more for Jesus, right? I mean, not like they said that when people die, but I'm just saying, like, one more for Jesus, one more disciple for Jesus, because the goal is to disciple people, right? To make them leaders. I'm not building, like, we don't do foo-foo stuff here. We at our retreats, we're not painting nails and playing games and doing all that foo-foo stuff, okay? Because that nobody changes there. There's no change there. We are doing like radical discipleship, as Poppy would say, just radical discipleship. I'm not trying to build people who just show up to church to check it off their list And then they go home and they're the same. They're not using their power. Like, we have power in us to heal, right? To help people break free of bondage and all those things. But to start, you have to follow the program, and you have to, get your priorities straight and do the daily disciplines that we talked about in week 1, and also here. And so if you're not married, if you are single, and, in order to, and I was with Tara yesterday, who's on here, and, we talked about this, and it's like, you want a Jesus man. You want a Jesus man because you want a man who loves Jesus more than me, right? He loves Jesus more than me. And that's why I'm very adamant with my children. You can't date my kid unless you love Jesus. I mean, it's just not going to happen. Because, I mean, I just, could you imagine, like, your kid marrying an unbeliever, and then they end up not believing and you don't see them in heaven? I mean, it's terrible. So anyways, so anything else that you want to say about priorities before we just talk about Rise a little bit?
Nope.
Okay.
That's
So as you've seen, we are marketing Rise, right? And if you saw the new video out that it's out there today with Kurt and Pastor Andy Warren and TJ. This is for everybody. We're actually doing a marriage segment. It's not a real long segment, more of a panel type. And it's for you, even if you're not married, right? You want to be there, because when you do get married, it's going to be like tools that you'll be able to take into your marriage. Marriage is hard. You get married and then the work starts. Marriage is hard and it takes effort. And so many women get wrapped up in their children, and their husband is starving. Their kids, they are overweight and out of shape and unhealthy because they think, they're basically using their children as an excuse as to why they're lazy, just to be honest. So that fell out of my head where I was going with that. Oh, so yes. So bring your husband, tell a buddy, bring a friend. If you're engaged, I know Nicole is getting married soon. She's engaged. But it's a whole new Rise, friends. And we always say, follow us for a year, hit every event for a year, and your life will never be the same. A lot of people, they don't ever leave because we're always upping the game. The Lord is always giving us, downloading, as Kurt said, more stuff that we could share with you. And a lot of the stuff, it's normal. Like, we know this stuff, but there's a lot of people that walk around that people just assume they know. I don't ever assume that people know, because most of the time they don't know. They don't know, like, with a simple shift in how you look at something will change your life. How a simple habit, when you start it, will change your life. If you just, with the words that come out of your mouth will change your life. People don't know that. And they don't teach these things, in church now, And so, like, next week is week 4, and I'm actually going to go over gems, which is basically, it's like, it's all about who you are, how God knitted you in your mother's womb, how you were, fashioned, and then teaching you how to relate to others. And when it has a lot to do with, it helped us a lot in our marriage, actually, because, we are a little different. So Rise is September 6th and 7th. You can get your tickets now. Victory Church they're going to start promoting this weekend, guys. And you know what that means? Is it's going to fill up. The seats are going to fill up, and it's a whole new Rise. We have some new people coming, and we have everybody who's served with us ever since. Valerie Wagaman, Stacy and Corey Harris, Robin and the team, Robin and Wendy and Diana, and my husband Kurt, and Andy and Beth. So Andy and Beth Warren are probably going to be like closing us out. Powerful, because if you've never, they are powerful. That place is, the Spirit of God is so tangible there. It's just so thick up in that place, and they're just so Spirit filled, and it's just an amazing place. And you're going to feel, when you walk in the door, you're just going to feel the difference of Victory Church. So just the atmosphere alone is going to change your life, just being at Victory Church. So make sure you get your ticket. Don't miss out.
Commit and figure out the details later, guys. Seriously, it's a Friday evening. and a Saturday morning and a little bit of the afternoon, and the best investment you can make is in yourself. You can't worry about anybody else. Make the commitment, grab the ticket, show up, be present, be ready to learn, because I can tell you just from even the last Rise event, and I know this is going to be to another level,
10X.
But to watch people walk out of there, to hear people's stories of how when I came in here, this is what I was struggling with, and you're going to leave with actual tools that you can, make those shifts to completely make your life different, right? I mean, that's what we want. We don't want to stay the same. If there's something that you're struggling with, and that's another thing about this event is, if it's in your marriage, if it's in your finances, if it's in your just personal, lack of peace or joy, if it's something you're struggling with in your physical body, if you're just not where you want to be at in a lot of those areas, trust me, what you'll walk away with, you will be able to make those shifts immediately. And then being a part of a culture, of a group like what Rachel and her team has created, that's what makes this even more powerful, because it's not just you going to an event and you learn a bunch of things and then you're on your own. We desire for you to walk, we want to walk alongside with you in this journey, so that you just don't get fed, but you're able to basically make the changes you need so that they last long term. We want to help you do that.
Right. And so thank you guys so much. But I just wanted to let you know that I teach those things that I most need to learn. So I'm getting so much out of this 6-week program too. So here's something that I struggle with, right? So I'm the person who, I'm a Sapphire, right? So I just got home from vacation, and normally, so last month I went, there was June, there was 3 vacations, 2 vacations. I've been on 4 vacations since June, right? The first 3, my luggage is unpacked on my floor. I don't unpack. It's just on my floor, sitting there, all unpacked. It's not put away. Now he comes home, unpacks, does his laundry, puts his clothes away. Now this time, because like I said, I'm learning from this too. I want to be excellent, right? I want to be an excellent kingdom woman, right? That's why I have, today, I was supposed to have some showings this morning, and I was going to work out after, and it got pushed back, and then it didn't happen. And then I'm like, I could have not went and worked out, but I went and worked out anyways. Usually if it's later, I'm like, but I want to be excellent. So I did it. But yesterday, did we get home yesterday? Monday.
Yes, late Monday night.
Wait, what is today?
Wednesday.
Oh my goodness. So Tuesday morning, I unpacked, did my laundry, put it away, and then I got a lead and then left for the day and went and was showing houses. So I feel like I got rewarded.
Which that little story is proof that God answers prayers. Just saying.
Be quiet. I finally just stuck it in my closet and shut the door. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be excellent and take care of this. So just know that I'm doing this along with you. If you think you know it all, then your learning has stopped. You can learn no more. And I'm just a lifelong learner. I'm rolling along with you guys. So if you guys are
and I just want to say this is that when Rachel's talking about growth, okay, that's why we're so committed to growing, because guys, it's not just about us growing, but it's about us contributing. We grow so that we can contribute. We grow so that we can help the next person. We can pay it forward. We can become better for our spouse, for our family, for our kids, for our businesses, for whatever. So you always should be having a commitment to grow so that you can then contribute.
Yeah. And so I would suggest, if you want to start, if you're not already doing devotions with your husband, I want to say, start with this one, Marriage on the Rock, Jimmy and Karen Evans. It's an amazing, even if you're engaged, or, I know some of you on here are divorced, and you're starting over, and that's exciting. And I know Judy is starting over, and she's she is on search for her next, and I'm so glad you're here, by the way, Judy. So I would say Marriage on the Rock for that. And so this is recorded, and I know some of you jumped on late, so the recording is going to be on the Facebook page in about 5 minutes. Make sure you catch the beginning of it, and get your tickets to Rise. Don't miss out. Get your tickets to Rise, and who you bring in with you, right? Because we're each one teach one here. It's to build disciples means that you go and you duplicate, you build disciples. And the easiest thing to do is just bring them along with you, right? Just bring them along with you. Just invite them, buy their ticket if you have to, but just bring them along with you. And remember the reticular activating system on the video I did the other day, right? Somebody said, well, I don't have any friends. Well, now that you know that, you should invite somebody, your RAS is going to turn on and it's going to find somebody for you to invite that person or those people. Okay. So we're going to Cold Stone to get some ice cream.
You have some balance.
And you guys have a great evening and we will see you soon.
Love you guys.